Hello, my fellow carbon-printed meat golems just waiting to break down. I'm back for another one. I'm planning on going running and swimming, finding some people to flip off, picking a few locks, pickpocketing anyone if I can. I've only got one person, but it's hard to find crowds where I live, and the GoPro camera makes me doubly conspicuous, so I gotta be extra super sneaky, so it's hard finding good marks. But as far as lock picking and stuff, I'm working on a compilation for that. Now, I'm making a video response to Eternal Entropy, who I called lawful neutral in my griefing process alignment of an anti-hero video. And he was of the authority over everything variety. Alright? Now, we're going to talk about arbitrary control, but first, and tribalism, okay? Because I know he and a lot of the white nationalist types are big on their tribalism, okay? Well, I am not. But first I'm going to read the 5 stages of tribal leadership. They are as follows. Stage 1. I'll say the language, then give the description, then move on. Stage 1. My life sucks. Most people are socially alienated, and the theme for their words is that this life has given them a bad deal, so it is okay to do whatever survives. Now, that's me, but not exactly, because I won't do whatever it takes to survive. To me, that's a coward's way. But I will do certain things that other people might not. And it wasn't life that gave me a bad deal. It was very specific. People. Alright? So, again, this system was described by somebody who's never really had it hard, okay? And I don't mean that in the spoiled brat kind of way. I mean like torment, starvation kind of a way, alright? So, of course there's going to be a cartoon of what it would really be. But anyway, stage 1, my life sucks. Life's giving them a bad deal, so it's okay to do whatever to survive it takes. Stage 2, most people do the minimum to get by. I've seen that a lot. They show almost no initiative or passion and engage in passive-aggressive behavior. I've seen that a lot. Stage 3. I'm great and you're not. See that a lot too. People engage in anything that's going on with energy and commitment, but when you listen closely, they talk mostly about themselves and focus on appearing smarter and better than others. They think that they're focused on team concerns, but their actions show interests are personal. Winning is all that matters, and winning is personal. People at this stage complain that they don't have enough time or support, and that the people around them aren't as competent or committed as they are. Stage 4, we're great. Teams are the norm, focused around shared values and a common purpose. Information moves freely throughout the group. People's relationships are built on shared values. They tend to ask, what's the next right thing to do, and to build ad hoc partnerships to accomplish what's important at the moment. And then we have stage 5. Stage 5 says, your tribes hardly ever refer to the... Oh, well, I forgot to include the language, but it was basically... I'll just go on. Your tribes hardly ever refer to competition, except to note how remarkable their own culture is by comparison, and how far their results outstrip industry norms. The theme of communication, which is what I would have led with before, is unlimited potential, bounded only by imagination and group commitment. Alright, that's important to remember. Limitless potential in stage 5, bounded, the highest stage, bounded only by imagination and group commitment. You'll hear that a lot. Oh, you just gotta think big and commit to it and collaborate with others. People in this culture can find a way to work with almost anyone, provided their commitment to values is at the same intensity as their own. Unlike stage 4, the focus isn't on our values, but on resonant or universal values. There is almost no fear, stress, or conflict. Okay, that's what everyone's striving for, right? Now, I don't like that either, but let me rewind and read Eternal Entropy's comment. He says good and evil are nothing more than what serves our existence. All right, and then he says like bad is good as sugar, bad as poison, good as heterosexual, bad as homosexual, good as health, bad as unhealthy, good as strength, bad as weakness. Notice I didn't say the word evil. I believe that this is a meme that invokes a primal fear among lesser men to do greater bad than good. When most people think of this word, it is attached to some uncontrollable essence in which it emulates from, and thus puts a man in an irrational state of mind, often a custom or belief of lesser advanced peoples, and can often induce thoughtless frenzies where man actually afflicts his own tribe in deleterious manners, such as Salem witch hunts or against the possessed of spirit. And because of this evil comes from an external source, the only outcome is to damage the person, as the unattainable can never be attained or reasoned with. Poor Galileo and his evil thoughts. What an affliction to have this evil thing. Woe to the man or men who live under an authority that believes in evil. Now, as for me, my belief is that evil is not merely bad or not good. It is profound wickedness. Okay, such as forcing someone to eat someone else, right? Or something like that. Something that just there's no point in doing, and they do it for pleasure. That's evil. True, profound wickedness. Okay? Not just, rotting piece of wood that was left out in the rain is evil. No. That's just inconvenient. You'll know profound wickedness when you come across it. I don't even want to describe some of them, but just think on the example I just gave. Imagine that actually going down. That's which has happened to people. So that's real evil. Anyone who doesn't believe in that is, well, I've got some choice words for them. Because I'll tell them, go look at it and tell me it's not real. Okay, but there's a lot to unpack here. So I'm going to bring up moral error theory, all right? It is a position characterized by its commitment to two propositions. 1, all moral claims are false. 2, we have reason to believe that all moral claims are false. All right? I don't really need to explain this. All right? But I'll go ahead and say this. The first argument of people attribute to moral error theory is called the argument from Queerness, which holds that moral claims imply motivation internalism, or the doctrine that it is necessary and a priori, or coming before, that any agent who judges that one is one of his evadable actions is morally obligatory will have some defeasible motivation to perform that action. Because motivation internalism is false, however, so too are all moral claims. Alright, essentially that's saying that you don't necessarily need a motivation. People would just do, and then maybe if they come up with one after the fact, right? Rather than before. Okay? A posteriori would be after the fact, a priori is before. So they don't need a previous. I've seen people do some stuff, and it's like, why? And it's like, you tell they just got that goldfish stare. It's like, okay, you're an idiot, as we call it, or sick, as some would call it. Okay, the second argument, okay, that was the first argument, okay? The second argument is that, which is attributed to that school of thought, error theory, is basically that the argument is often called an argument from disagreement. It maintains that any moral claim, e.g. killing babies, is wrong, even though abortion is the #1 cause of death in our country. Go women. Let's say killing babies is wrong, entails a correspondent reasons claim, as in why. But here's the thing about that. They assume that everybody has, like I said, what if a person enjoyed doing evil, or really, really bad, or killing babies, for instance. And so, to them, they don't have a reason not to. They have a reason to, and no reason not to. Therefore, all moral claims are wrong. All right, those are the two propositions. In brief, hyperlink in the description. Anybody wants to read up on it. Basically, without God, or really even with God, in a lot of cases, there is no right and wrong, no moral right and wrong. Okay. So if there is good and evil, it's arbitrarily defined by God or by man in virtue ethics. But basically it doesn't exist, okay? Outside of those especially. Because God will enforce it, what he says goes. But to me, it's all arbitrary, all right? So, yeah, so that really only leaves, like I said, about the claim of, you know, good, bad. That isn't the same as good, evil, or righteous and evil, okay? Because there are things so good that they go beyond good. Like, why would you even go that far to do that? Well, that's what you might call righteous, okay? Same thing with evil, so bad, something so bad that it just shouldn't exist. That, not just, you know, waste or something else, but just profound wickedness, that's evil, okay? It does exist. But also, Satan is not necessarily the embodiment of evil. The embodiment of evil is, Satan just means adversary, okay? It's literally all it means. I forget which language translations it is, but it just means evil. Now, essentially, anybody doing evil is the embodiment of evil, okay? Actually, the concept itself is its embodiment. That's why we have concepts, you know? There's no truer red than the concept of red, for instance. But, okay, so for me, it comes down to arbitrary control. For instance, I'm about to be getting a nose surgery, hopefully, on the 26th. But the hospital insists that I have somebody come pick me up and drop me off, alright? Now, I was like, why can't I take a cab? And their answer was this. Oh, something about our insurance, something about, what if they just drop you off any old place? And I was like, well, then I'll call the cops or a different cab. And they're just looking at me like, this isn't up for negotiation, sir, kind of a thing. And I'm like, so wait a minute. I have to find a stranger because I have no relatives or friends or anybody, wife, anything like that. So I gotta find a stranger to take me somewhere. Okay. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, but that's way better than a cab with cameras. You see, that's the arbitrary authoritarianism that I hate. Okay, because they gotta cover their butt. They're essentially putting me in more danger. Alright? While I'm drugged up. And they think they're helping me. That's what happens when you get authoritarianism going. That's what happens when only men register for selective service, but women are the majority of voters. They're not going to get shot in the face if they make a stupid decision. I will. Same thing with the hospital, okay? Same thing. That's what happens. Like I said, if the government wasn't in control of the hospitals because of they're the largest employer and contributor for medicine, and the affirmative action that only Caucasian men don't get, a lot of women go to the hospitals. Basically, authoritarianism bad, freedom good, okay? Now, I went over the stages of tribal leadership, okay? And I have to say this, you know, I don't like the tribe. The tribe has been screwing me over since day one. Oh, you're the oldest. More responsibility, less freedom. Punishment whenever the other ones do wrong. Oh, you're the white man, punishment. It's basically your family, you owe me. It's all a means of control and punishment for people who are scared of dying, so they want to get their little dopamine rush and feel like God while they're on the earth. But they're going to be a corpse soon. So everybody's worried about power is what it's coming down to, and that's the last thing that matters.